I hope you enjoy the tea and snacks. Now proceeding further, I would like to invite respected Dr. Nitesh Goyal sir, Triple IT Hyderabad, to discuss the fundamental issues in antenna design for low power applications.
Very good morning to all of you. I am going to speak on antenna design issues, especially for the low power application. And precisely my aim is not to add anything new. Just I want to share some opinions or certain issues, and it may be wrong actually. It is open for the discussion. It is open for the discussion. Actually, I am just throwing some issue. So you can think over the 4 days, and then we can discuss it over the time, and probably we will see that how to proceed further. So Dr. Raghuvanshi has set the perfect ground for me by introducing the RF design part. Now, as a overall view, if you just see that how the systems behave, or if you model a particular system, then precisely I can visualize that there can be 3 different parts. One is the power source, where exists the power and we want to transfer that power for some particular purpose. And we want to transfer the power to the load. Now what is the load? It depends upon what the system is. And for transferring this power from power source to the load where it is supposed to be used, we need a transmission network. So I visualize it is a general model, and it is applicable in any number of systems, including the RF system what I am going to cover. So in the RF system, definitely my load is the antenna. The desired form in which I want to convert this particular power is the electromagnetic energy. So whatever is the transmission network that is in between these two is precisely what Dr. Raghuvanshi has discussed in the last lecture. That is the RF section. Now, as far as an antenna is concerned, we know that antenna is a device for fundamental definition. It converts electromagnetic energy, electrical energy into the electromagnetic energy and vice versa. And why it is happening, the answer lies with the physics. And I know that still it is something exact physical phenomena why radiation occurs. There are still certain issues. Certain scientists have raised those issues, and they are not very common. But the generally accepted term is whenever there exists the acceleration of the charges anywhere, there has to be radiation. And whenever I am saying acceleration of the charges, precisely I mean alternating current. So any circuit which is carrying the alternating current, it is radiated. It has to radiate. So the alternating current is carried by the entire transmission network. So, in principle, it should radiate. Now, what is our goal? We want that the radiation should be done by the antenna. It should not be done by in between. So, the RF section design, I believe, the primary emphasis is it should be as efficient as possible. Efficient in terms of minimizing the losses. So, whenever we are saying minimizing the losses, what are the different losses? Dr. Raghuvanshi has introduced a few, that there will be reflection losses. And we know that there will be radiation losses because now the component size has become comparable to the operating frequency. So that means, but it should be very clear to us that these two are, both of these antenna and the RF section design are generally clubbed with the RF section. But the fundamental aim is different. We want to design an RF section which must have as low radiations as possible. And we want an antenna which must radiate as maximum power as possible. So these things should be very distinguished, and that's why the designing approach is a little bit different. So whenever we are designing the RF section, we want that the radiation should be minimal. Now people used to ask that if you want to radiate, how does it matter if it is radiated by the antenna or if it is radiated by the RF section, because ultimately they are getting the radiation. I want to give you an example. I think that exactly same thing is applicable for many systems. It is applicable for the mechanical system, and it is applicable for the organization or the government system. I believe it. Just for an example, government is putting a lot of money. That is the money source that is available, and the end user is the normal person, an arm admi. And there exists a bureaucracy generally between them. So whenever government is putting some money, it is supposed to be utilized by the end person, and definitely we do not expect that the bureaucracy should get any chunk out of it. Unfortunately, it is happening in India, and one of our Prime Minister said that this 95% loss is there. So wherever we are designing, actually, the goals should be clear. Where the source is available, and where it is supposed to be used, and in what manner it is required to be used. So, just I want to share with you. I already told you. Simply, I am pointing a few opinions, and I am open for discussing this over the entire 4 days. The next 4 we can discuss these issues. The very first thing is this. I believe that whenever we are designing the antenna for a handheld device, it may be a cellular mobile phone, or it may be a wireless sensor network node, or it may be something like this, a low power. What I define the low power, any device for which I can give the sufficient power using the semiconductor technology, I categorize it in the low power. For the high power, I need to go for the Klystron, TWT, I am not addressing this. For me, the low power is defined as any device where the amplification can be done and the transmission can be done by the handheld devices or ordinary semiconductor components. So what I believe is the optimized design of the antenna, and whenever I am defining the optimizing device of the antenna, there are certain issues. You know the basic antenna, you know that on what parameters the antenna should be optimized. So the optimized design of the antenna is dependent upon the underlying technology. That is, I need to radiate the power. I want to radiate the power efficiently. And if you just think over it, you will find, if you have some knowledge of the underlying technology, you will find an efficient antenna for the 2G application is not as efficient when I try to use the same thing for the 3G application. Then there are reasons. So we can discuss those reasons, but this is an issue which I want to introduce here, or I want to submit for you. Just think over it. The second is this, that the physical attributes of the device, that how it is going to look. Because whenever we are going to purchase a particular mobile set, we are biased by its look. We are not going to see that just show me the technical specifications, how efficiently it is going to radiate. No one is going to ask. So how the industry is working actually, there are certain design experts which are designing the outer look, that how the device should look like. Now responsibility will come to us as an antenna engineer, that you are having a limited space, you are having a limited width, and you are asked to design an antenna which is as efficient as any other model. So it's a challenging task, and every time you need to start from the scratch, and every time the flow is same. Whatever once you are discussing that you need to use some care, you need to implement it, you need to assess the parameters, and you need to see that is it fit for the application for which I am designing. So these are the two things. The next is what are the parameters which are supposed to become more important when I am designing the antenna for low power applications. I believe that variation of the impedance, because of all this actually, when you go through the theory, Ramesh will tell you something about this, that the impedance variation is very good. We know that we want that RF section is designed such that the reflection of the power should be, and that is minimum if and only if there is proper matching. So if I have designed an antenna for certain frequency and it is having certain input impedance which is supposed to be matched by the RF circuit, and it has achieved the minimum reflection. But when I change the frequency, which is supposed to be done, you know that if you consider the GSM, there are different bands, 800, 900 bands, 1.8 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. My RF section I am not going to change. When I change the frequency of the operation, is the input impedance offered by the antenna is same over these different bands? Is it still compatible with the RF section that has been designed by me? So there are a lot of complexities which are involved, and I believe that if I want to reduce the loss of the power, I need to look at this particular issue after designing the antenna. Whenever I design the antenna for a particular frequency, I need to see that this device is supposed to be used over a different bands of frequency, and how will it going to affect. If I am not going to design, or I cannot optimize it for different bands, I need to see, is this loss of power is tolerable to? So there are a large number of issues associated with the antenna design, and the input impedance I really want to put emphasis on. The second one is the cost of getting the desired radiation pattern band. And cost, I do not mean money by this cost. The cost is different attributes, several attributes are there. So depending upon our technology, I want that this should be the radiation pattern that should be there. And there are only two ways actually, some of you might be aware of this, that the antenna is going to radiate, and this radiation will depend upon how the current is distributed over the length of the antenna. And there exists a Fourier relationship between this, the distribution of the current in the radiation pattern, that is a known thing. So what happens, whenever I want to go for a particular radiation pattern, and if I find out that this kind of the current density pattern is required, can I design an antenna, or can I develop an structure which will have exactly their current density? It's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult job, and you will find that most of the time such structures are not existing. It is not physically realizable. You cannot realize it. So what happens? We adopted the other approach. We design the antenna and then we try to fit. Is it satisfying the radiation requirement? So that is one part, and that is definitely the preferred part for the low power applications. The other thing is the smart antenna. Actually, I really want to put this particular smart antenna concept into the question. People used to think that the smart antenna can do anything. It's not correct. I want something. Specifically when we are working with the handheld and low power device. Smart antennas are generally realized with an antenna array and a specific kind of the input power is supplied. And you will find that whenever I am trying to get a particular narrow bandwidth, precisely it is available by the cancellation of the radiation by the different elements. So whatever may be the utility of the smart antenna, it may be used for the radar application, I do not say. But I believe for the handheld devices, it cannot do this, because I have very limited power. I cannot afford to transmit the power just for the cancellation of the sum of the radiation pattern, and it should not be done. So there is another issue, that a smart antenna, whatever is the smart antenna, we need to critically analyze, is it really suitable, or what is the cost, that is how much power it is going to consume. Now next is, whenever I say that low power devices, most of the devices will fall into this particular category. It is the typical cellular network, and you will find that most of the modern wireless communication system can be modeled something very similar to this particular cellular network. And there are two different entities, and you will realize that the requirements at these two are different. These are the two endpoints of the wireless communication, and the requirements are entirely different. I hope that you are familiar with this thing. Now, just if you look at the base station, what the base station is supposed to do, then besides you will find it, the base station is somewhere, and it is supposed to communicate with large number of the mobile devices under its state. Now, if you just think of the implementation point of view, that whenever this is the thing, then it is to transmit a large bandwidth signal, because we cannot have the multiple transmission or multiple transmitter chains at the base station. You need to combine it ultimately before feeding it to the antenna. So we need an antenna which is having the wide bandwidth, and we are simultaneously transmitting the data which is supposed to be delivered to the different persons, right? different user equipments. Right? And these user equipments are located at the different location over the cell. Someone may be here, someone may be there, someone may be there, someone may be there. So what kind of the radiation pattern will I need? Because I have to have a single transmission chain. So I need to ensure that it should be very close to the omnidirectional pattern. So whenever someone is saying that HDM is another concept, people are suggesting that HDM should be used, right? Where the point-to-point communication is supposed to be done. Base station is supposed to deliver the data with a narrow pencil beam to that particular user, and then it is supposed to work. It is not possible. Because in that case, you need to have as many transmission chains as the number of users. And for this, different set of the antenna is required, and it is impractical. You can't do it. So just try to see. Actually, there are different concepts which are there, and we need to critically see that what are the different issues. And when I suggest that initially the 2G, 3G are in different sets have the different antenna requirements, precisely you find that it is so because the end of management or the diversity requirements or the bandwidth requirements are different for these different systems. So that is the few issues for designing the base station. Now next, let us move to the antenna design for the user equipment. If there is a user equipment, we are having a handheld device, and we need to communicate with the base station. So whenever it is required to communicate with the base station, then precisely we need an antenna, and this time you can observe that it's a one-to-one transmission. A specific user equipment is supposed to communicate with the specific base station, and we can now afford to go for a pencil, and that is possible. It appears to us it is possible. So now where the bottleneck will be with the pencil itself. Whenever I try to reduce the beam width, you know the Fourier relationship that precisely there exists a sinc pattern. Whenever I try to narrow the bandwidth or the beam width of the radiation, then I need to put a lot of effort, and precisely it has been proved as well. It is very difficult to get it from a single structure. I need to go for the multiple element antenna, and now the bottleneck will come. I cannot accommodate this antenna on the mobile device, first thing. Second thing, I do not have sufficient power for cancelling the radiation pattern. So all these are the challenges which are involved with the antenna when we are designing the antenna for the user equipment, or when we design the antenna for the base station. So it is something Wi-Fi networks or the cellular networks or other things they will fit, but precisely into that particular thing. There is altogether a different domain, a different network, which is IIIT is having a emphasis on this particular thing. We are Center of Excellence, and we are doing a lot of research for the wireless sensor network, and we need to put up that it is just not another kind of the network. It's not another kind of the network. The requirements are different. So the requirements are different, and accordingly, whenever I design it, the things will be. First of all, if you see the bandwidth requirement, I do not require bandwidth for the wireless sensor network. I need to transmit only a few bytes of the data with a long period. In the cellular communication, my requirement was entirely different. I want to download the data as fast as possible. So the transmission bandwidth of the signal is limited, and there are definitely different issues which are there. So the point which we are getting over here is, it is altogether different. We used to randomly deploy the wireless sensor nodes, and these nodes are supposed to be static, they are not moving. So it is another difference. In the cellular communication, we are having a device which is moving. Now we are having a device, all the devices which are static. And devices are static, still then the topology is changing over the time. That is another characteristic feature of the wireless sensor network. The role of the different nodes are supposed to be changed over the time. Definitely, the cluster rates or the routing requirements are going to govern it, but the roles are going to change. That is, it is a dynamic topology over the statically deployed wireless sensor. I hope that is clear. So we are having a very different kind of network, and it is having a very different kind of requirements. I need to design an antenna, and I do not want very high bandwidth of this particular antenna. Now, I need to critically look. Can I really go for an antenna which is having very narrow bandwidth, and that should be there without any additional power consumption? If I can do it, then definitely I can aid upon the performance of the wireless sensor network, because the power is the main concern. So when these privileges are given to us, that I do not want the power, and up to some extent I can always say that the physical layout of the node is not very important, because we are not going to keep it in our pocket and people are not going to see it. We are going to deploy it somewhere. So definitely the physical layout may be anything, so that is not a constraint. I can put the antenna anywhere. I can put it outside the device, I can put it inside the device, I can have a separate antenna. So there are large number of privileges which are available to us, but the main concentration should be on the power. I need a structure, I need to design an antenna which must be very power efficient. So that is the issue whenever I am designing the wireless sensor network. Now for the handheld devices, these are a few antenna structures which are widely used, and I already told you, you can verify it as well. You are going to have a checkful. These are not very efficient. There are large number of drawbacks when you are using this kind of structure. Sumit will tell you more about the antenna, microstrip antenna specifically. Probably he will discuss a few technical issues or technical bottlenecks which are associated with the patch antenna. So that is there. So these are different structures which generally used over the antenna, and whenever we are going to design an antenna, designing on the paper or any other simulation is another job, and implementing it, fabricating it, and then testing it, it's very important. And you will find that there is a drastic change between the simulated result and the existing data which we are getting from the experimentation. I think sir will tell you a lot of times we have discussed this particular issue. It is there, and I think Amit will also discuss something like this. What we need to discuss as of now is, these are the three things. Once we have designed the antenna, we need to see the fabrication technologies. So there are three basically technologies which are used for the devices. We can have certain sets over which we are having the stationary wire antenna, or we are having the different kind of the antenna. And there are certain logics why we should go for it. But market has rejected it for the mobile communication. Now no one is having a mobile which is having the antenna which is different from this. Everyone wants that the embedded antenna should be there, right? So that it looks good. And definitely we are invited Professor Meshram, and we will talk is on 30th. We will precisely discuss this. Okay? That how to design the embedded antenna and what are the issues involved. Okay? So designing the antenna, fabricating it, that is also important. There are two fabrication facilities which we are having, the SMT facility and VLSI as well. We have scheduled it, and we are going to have an exposure of it. And the third possibility is the monolithic design. You can design the antenna over the chip. Since we are working at the low power level, definitely it can be there. And let me tell you, all these are very complex. You will have a feel whenever these things will be discussed by the experts. I am just introducing that what we are going to discuss and what are the issues. So with this, I want to close. So if you have any query or any issue, definitely I would like that you just think over the issues what I have discussed. Just think over it. And whenever you come out with certain questions, definitely I am available here for the entire course, and we can discuss them. Yes, please.
This is regarding smart network.
Yes, sir.
See, now there are technology which, I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but if you need something to be done on the chip,
Yes.
and you want to connect it, suppose like amplifier they are shown using MEMS switch. I think Professor Paul is going to talk.
Definitely.
What is called as a micro machine.
Hmm.
So if you have two patches, say for example,
Okay.
and if you want to connect one patch one time and another patch and another patch, then you can do on chip level.
Okay.
So maybe, and I don't know whether it is going to be used for portable devices or handheld devices.
Hmm.
But this provision is going to be made available to the macro people.
Okay.
That if you have some